Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, or tell an enemy. It's cool. Enemies need podcasts to listen to. Anyways, I hope you're all doing well. Um, I hope I don't have to restart those opening remarks because my microphone was turned the other way. But what can I say? I'm kind of a goofball. Excellent. Cool. Anyways, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, or tell an enemy. Enemies need to listen to podcasts too, and this is a perfect one to really get them. Anyways, I hope you're all doing well. I've been getting a lot of emails about stand-up shows, especially Long Beach at the Laugh Factory. Um, Ever since Mel Garcia died, the person who took over that show just won't book me. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna do Long Beach Laugh Factory anytime soon. But I will get on them again. I mean, if they ignore me 8 times, maybe the ninth time they will respond. But to all the Long Beach people, that's why I haven't been there. Um, I don't know exactly when this episode's gonna be out, but I will be at the Irvine Improv with TJ Miller in October. So you could get tickets at irvineimprov.com and, see me and TJ. And then San Diego, I'm going to be New Year's week at the American Comedy Club with Pablo Francisco. So you could get tickets now and come see that show. This episode will definitely be out before that. So that's the good news. Um, the bad news, well, there is no bad news, right? There's only okay news. Good news and okay news. Yeah, let's get rid of that word bad. I think bad is just a bad word. We shouldn't say bad. We should say okay. Okay news. The okay news is I know I've been talking about writing another special and doing another special. It's very, very hard um to write jokes and stuff, but I am doing that, and I don't think I have another hour yet. I think I have another good 36 minutes. Um, but I my goal was obviously this year, but I think I'm pushing it to next year just so I could uh really get it good and then, do work it out and stuff like that. So that's the okay news. So the new special, I do have plans on doing it. I just don't know when. So I did get emails on that. But yeah. Anyways, we got a great show today. I'm very excited for this guest because if you guys know me, I'm a huge Saw fan. I love the Saw series. I think the Saw series are entertainment classics. Um, I really do like them. I'm a big, big Saw horror guy. And my guest today, he was the star of Saw 6. And he's on two TV shows right now. The Netflix show I Will Find You, and then the TV show of It, the Clown, which I haven't seen because I saw It, the movie, and I wouldn't say it terrified me, but it was like, oh my God. Clowns are kind of terrifying. Uh, So yeah, I'm not gonna say I was scared because I saw it and I also saw the sequel, but I will say it's not something I'm rushing to go see because I have a clown fear. Not saying I'm scared of them, just saying I have a fear. Two different things. Anyways, he's on the TV show It. You've seen him in Mission to Mars. You've seen him in Cool Runnings, Lucky Number Slevin, Saw 6. Did I mention Saw 6? I'm a huge Saw 6 fan. Anyways, the great Peter Outerbridge is going to be here via Zoom, and we're going to Reza Rifts it. and he's going to become my new best friend. You just watch. You just watch, or you listen. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, and enjoy this episode of Reza Rifts with Peter Outerbridge coming up next.
From Hollywood, California, welcome to Reza Rifts with your host, Keith Reza.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Peter Outerbridge. How are you?
I'm good, Keith. Reza.
Reza. Hey, you can say
Reza.
Reza. Hey, it's new.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so excited. I've been telling everybody all day I'm about to interview you, and they're all like jealous.
What? Really?
Yeah, yeah. So everyone loves you. They're like, ah.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, yeah. We might go back and forth a little, so I apologize, but I wanted to start with the shows you are on right now, just so we could promote them. But I Will Find You, which I saw you were fabulous in, and you're also in It, like the TV show. I haven't seen It yet because I'm scared of clowns, but how's
Oh,
it?
listen.
I know, but how is it like being on two shows at the same time? Because back in the day, like I don't know if the streaming services like now they're kind of lenient, but back in the day you only could do one show at a time. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that the it's kind of changed. First of all, we shot a long time ago. We shot
Oh,
Welcome to
really?
Derry. Yeah, we shot Welcome to Derry back in. We started in 2019. No,
Whoa.
we started right after COVID. So 2020, 2021. And then the actor strike happened. So it
Yeah.
got put on hiatus for a year, and then we came back and shot the rest of it when the actor strike ended. So that was done in like 2022, 2023. But they had a lot of post-production stuff. They had a lot of special effects, and they had a lot of all the stuff with the clown and all the makeup and the blood and all that stuff. So they also had to do a big edit job on it because of the writer strike. They had to cut some stuff, and then they had to rewrite. And anyway, so that we shot that a while ago. I Will Find You. We shot last year.
Yeah.
Um, but even then, I did two Netflix shows last year. I did I Will Find You, and I did Needly, which was a spinoff from Reacher.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Uh, but they sort of, like when you're an actor like me, I'm not usually the lead. So my days are all sort of spread out throughout the schedule. And so, if we can find other gigs that we can fit in there, and it's a lot easier to do that with Netflix because they know it's all under the one umbrella. So they know what you're working on and they know what your days are. So they can sort of figure out if they can use you on another show or whatever. And then now I'm working on another Netflix show called Bet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that
You're,
was I can't remember the name in Japanese, but it's based off a Japanese anime. I think it started as a comic and then they did an anime and then they did a live action version. And then Netflix said, "Oh, let's do the international version where we don't just have Japanese people, we have people from all over the world." And so that aired last year and it got really great reviews, but it was just meant to be a two-season type of thing. So this year we're wrapping it all up and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I will say like it's cool that Netflix is like making all these shows and stuff, but like when I was growing up, like shows had seasons and you had to like
Yeah, I
watch
know, right?
you had to watch and then pray for another season.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I kind of like both systems. Like I've gotten used to the whole binge style of shows where like if you're really into a show, you can just keep watching it and watching it and watching it. Um, but I do kind of miss the old like you had to wait for a week to find out what was going to happen. So like if there was a cliffhanger, you got to talk
Yeah.
about it with everybody for about a week. Like I think this is what's going to happen. I think this is what's going to happen. And then when the day arrived, you were all excited like the next episode. And we were watching what were we watching the other day? Widow's Bay. Have you seen Widow's Bay?
No, no.
So it's another show on Apple and it's great. It's like the perfect mix of comedy and horror. And I mean, I think Stephen King even said it was one of the best things he'd seen because it was like that perfect blend of just oddball, quirky characters and then just extreme out and out terror. Like
Yeah.
it's a great show. But they did the week to week to week thing. And
Yeah.
on the one hand, I was like, oh, I gotta wait another week. But on the other hand, I got really excited because the whole week would go by and you'd be sitting around and then you'd go, it's Wednesday. Our new show's on tonight, and you get you like so you get all excited. So
It's excitement, yeah, because
I
like you
think
could talk to everyone for a week about an episode and then call in sick Wednesday to see the new episode.
call in sick. That's exactly right. But I think
Uh,
both formats have their place. I mean, I gotta say, I wish Widow's Bay had been a bingeable show because I liked it so much. I just wanted to keep watching it and watching it and watching it.
yeah. I wanted to ask you about I Will Find You, just a question because your character, like I wouldn't necessarily say you're a cop, but you're like the marshal guy, like
The
you lead
Warden,
the
yeah.
warden, yeah. So like, and you've played a lot of cops before, so I was wondering like when you get into these characters, do you like interview actual wardens or cops to see how they do these things, or
It depends on the project. Like if it's trying to be ultra realistic, I might, yeah,
yeah,
I might go and talk to them and find out, go over the script with them and sort of. But a lot of these shows have advisors, like they have
okay,
technical advisors and they have people who they'll step in, but they do that in the writing phase. Like they'd say, well, the warden would never do that. Or, if the warden is going to break the guy out of jail, you're going to have to make some kind of reference to the fact that he knows his career is over. Like whether
yeah,
the
yeah,
guy's innocent or not, his career is done. Right.
yeah,
So most of that research is, I think, done in the writing phase. And then, but yeah, there have been a couple of shows where I've shadowed some police officers and just to try to get a feel of what it's like to but that it's years and years of training, and so I often it's good for the research and it's good for the mind, but I often find that it's kind of like when actors go like, yeah, so I rode with a cop for a week and that makes you a cop now. I don't think it does, but anyway, but it does give you a feel for it. Like you definitely get a sense of like what these guys go through on a day to day and stuff like that.
yeah.
But the warden, yeah, the warden was kind of interesting because he was like most wardens in movies and in prison movies are like the bad guys. They're like
Yeah, yeah. Like they have like
doling
a
out punishment and like hurting people.
taking money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, taking money on the take. Yeah, in the politicians' pockets and all that stuff. So it was kind of nice to play the warden as like, oh, he's an ex-cop and this is his next phase of his career and he's a good warden and he's a fair warden and he happens to have a relationship with this prisoner who's like family to him. And so uh yeah, he turns out to do the right thing and he turns out to be a good guy, right?
Yeah,
And it's nice that the show actually then sort of got into the ex-partner and then these two guys get like one last crack at the can to try to solve this case that they thought they'd solved or they thought that they'd done the right thing about and they were wrong.
yeah. I mean, I was watching it and I thought it was so great, but I kind of wish like you were the one who discovered the truth and not Sam. You know what
Well,
I
thank
mean?
you. Thank me too.
Like, because you're like, oh, we need the warden to figure this out.
Discovering the truth was above my pay grade on that project, I'm afraid. But
Uh,
I think Lenny and Philip, they did their share of uncovering. They figured out enough things that they could sort of toss in there. But
yeah.
I heard that there was a funny thing that I read in the paper where Harlan Coben was like, he was so he enjoyed watching that relationship so much apparently that he thought I think I should write a series about those two as young cops on the beat. That'd be kind of fun.
Oh,
And
that would
I
be
was,
so great.
I mean, I won't be in it, but there'll be a couple of young guys playing Philip and Lenny on the beat, right?
What if
So,
you could be in it though? Because like, what if like you're in it and then like you'd be like, remember back in the day when we were not wardens, and then flashback, you know what I mean?
well, that would be fun, except that unfortunately Lenny's dead now. So,
Ah,
oh,
yeah,
spoilers for those who
yeah,
haven't seen the show. Lenny's
yeah,
not dead. Nobody
yeah.
dies in TV. Nobody
But
dies in TV.
yeah, I mean, come on, Peter. We could
Yeah.
we could make this series before you help Sam escape.
Sure. There you go.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah. Put the
It's a prequel series. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a prequel slash sequel, kind of like Better Call Saul. You know what I mean? But it's a prequel, and then like it's in during, and you're like, wait, what is going? Like, I had to watch Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul at the same time just so the storylines matched.
You
You know
can
what I
get the
mean?
ref. Oh, you hadn't seen Breaking Bad, so you watched Better Call Saul up until the end and then watch Breaking Bad?
No, no, I love Breaking
Oh,
Bad. What I'm saying is like when I was watching Better Call Saul, I had to
yeah.
like watch the Breaking Bad episodes that it was in the timeline. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Yeah, because he does
Yeah.
meet Walter White, doesn't he, in the show? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so but hey, I want to go back a little in the time machine about Cool Runnings because I want like hey man.
Cool Runnings is one of those shows that I am eternally blessed that I got to do it. And I had no idea at the time. I don't think anybody had any idea. I mean, we all thought, this is a great Disney film and it's a great cool feel good film, like a Rocky kind of an underdog film. And we thought it was going to be good, and John Candy's fantastic, and John Candy
Yeah.
films always do well, and so we were all happy to be in it, and it was. But I don't think anybody had any idea that it was going to become such a like a cherished film, like to this day. And I'm not kidding. And I'm
Yeah.
60 years old now. I did that film back in like 1992 or
Yeah.
93, and I can go into a Tim Hortons in Sudbury in the middle of the winter with a full beard, glasses, and a toque on, order a coffee, and have the person go back to Jamaica. And I'll be like, there's no way. There's no way. How did you possibly recognize me? That's like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Anyway,
Yeah.
longer, 40 years ago,
Uh,
practically. So it really is it really became one of those films that just sort of got into the consciousness of the audience, and people love it. People come up to me still and they say we watch it every year in the wintertime. It's like one of our Christmas movies that we watch. So that's
yeah.
fantastic. That's great.
But like as a young actor, when you did it, because one, you're Canadian, and you work with John Candy and stuff, who is like a Canadian god. So like that must have just been a dream come true just to work, on a film
Oh,
with him.
sure,
You
yeah.
know,
And you're sort of intimidated as soon as you get on set with him. You're kind of intimidated. First of all,
really?
he was, rest in peace, but he was a big man. Like he was
Yeah,
like, must have been like 6'2", 6'3", and he didn't seem like, you think of John Candy as like, he's the big fat guy, and
yeah,
he didn't come across that way. He came across as just this big man, like this, big, tall posture, big, just boom. And his personality was just so, he had his heart was bigger than his size. Like he was just the nicest, kindest guy. He made everybody feel at home. You could have done the worst take in the world, and he would just kind of make like a little joke about it, and just to like make you just calm down, and it's going to be fine, and it's all. Or he would make a mistake in his next take just to say it's all okay, it's fine, don't worry about it, we're all having
it's a
fun here.
kids movie.
Just no, he never says that, never says
Oh,
that.
okay.
But and he always had time for fans. Like he actually had an assistant who would be the bad guy, because John would he could sign autographs all day. He could just hang out and talk to fans all day and give them all the time they needed. And so he had a guy who actually had to come over and go, John, we have to go now. Come on. And he'd go, oh, sorry. You
Yeah.
know.
Being an
So
assistant is like the worst job because I was an assistant for Norm Macdonald, and it was just, because Norm was like that. He liked to talk to people, and like at the same
right.
time it's like we gotta get out of here, man. You know what I mean?
Wow. That
Yeah.
was that was a pretty good Norm Macdonald imitation you just did there.
Oh, well, I mean I toured with him for 9 years, so like,
That's
like,
crazy.
yeah,
Really? That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Oh my
So,
God, he's like one of my or was one of my famous favorite comedians.
oh
I just think
really?
oh yeah, I thought he was just brilliant, 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 brilliant guy.
Oh, you
I
want to
never
hear?
met him.
Oh, you want to hear something amazing? We saw
Sure.
we saw Saw 6 together. So, yeah.
You kidding me?
No, we loved it.
Oh, really? Oh, you should have said, "Oh, Norm, you should call him up. He's really easy to get in touch with."
But no, but no, I mean, let's talk about Saw 6 for a second because Saw
Okay.
6 was for the folks at home, it was the sixth film in the Saw films, right?
Yeah.
Saw 6. But you were the star in that, and it was kind of interesting because uh it was never your test. And then like, at the end, I'm gonna just spoil it because it's been like 15 years, but
Yeah. What is
you
the statute of limitations on spoilers?
I
I
know.
don't know.
Like, if you haven't seen Saw 6 by now, you're
You're not
missing.
going to. Yeah, you probably won't be seeing it, right?
Unless Halloween marathon. But you had like the worst death, and I like
I know, right?
like,
I
oh
know.
my gosh, of
It
all the
was it was
Saw, how'd they
it
do
was
that to you? Like, what was that experience like? Because I know obviously
it
it was a
was
dummy, but like,
well, it was, I mean, it's a pretty horrific death. I mean, you read it in the script and you just go like, "Oh, that's terrible." And then you shoot it. And it's all practical special effects, excuse me. So, it's all old school. It's all the director's screaming out more blood, and they're like splashing blood on you, and there's the smoke from the acid burning, and then they have a effect where the lower half of my body falls away and all these pig guts fall out to look like my intestines all over the I mean, it's awful. And
yeah,
and it was really like, I mean, Kevin was the editor for the previous Saw films. So he and I worked really well together because I love working with former editors because they know what they want. And
yeah,
you don't have to, if you didn't get something in a take, you can go. He can come up to you and say, "Can we just do that one little bit? Because that's all I need." And you go, "Yep, absolutely." And can use it. And in a film like that was so tech heavy, so many gags, so many levers, and there's like in every trap, there's like 20 guys off camera pulling ropes and pulleys and stuff like that to make everything happen and make it all look like the jigsaw managed to make this machine that could do all of these things. But so it's a very, very technical process. And Kevin, when we got to that thing, he said, "So what do you need anything for this?" And I said, I need to know how long you want me to scream for and how loud you want me to scream." And he said,
like,
"Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through it.
okay,
Set yourself up in position, and I'm going to go, needles, the acid's going into your body. You start to feel it. Scream!" And then I just screamed as loud and as painfully which was kind of bizarre to do take after take after take, because everybody on that crew had been on all the Saw films, so they were all used to that kind of nonsense. But after we did that scene, like, people were leaving the studio. They were like, "I can't listen to that anymore. That was freaking awful."
well,
And it
Peter,
really was awful. I couldn't talk for like 3 days afterwards. It
but
was it
Peter,
was awful.
it's very interesting because like as an actor, I mean, I don't know, maybe someone has died like that, I don't know, but that's very
I
hard
hope not. I hope not. My God.
but that's very hard to like, because you're like,
Yeah, like, well, the last time I got cut in half with acid, I kind of screamed like this. Yeah, no, I didn't have any reference material, if that's what you're
that's
asking.
that's what I'm saying.
Do we have any video of people going through a wood chipper or anything like that? No? Okay. I guess I'll just make this one up. But look, so much of acting is that. I mean, there are so many different methods out there. There's so many different processes. There's so many different techniques. And I think every actor has their own. And I think a lot of actors use bits of everything, right? Like, I studied method acting, I studied Meisner, I studied classical theater, I studied, and I think that you end up with a nice set of tools
Yeah.
that, depending on the genre and depending on the style of the film, you can draw upon these different techniques and these different tools. In Saw, which is so I mean, it's torture porn basically, and it's so graphic and it's so violent that if you were to try to get into that in a method kind of a way, I think you would just really get messed up.
Yeah.
It's also not really necessary because it's so unrealistic. I
Yeah.
mean, all kidding aside, they literally and they would say, look, we're basically going to have you bleed out more blood than is in the human body. Like it's so graphic and so ridiculous, and it is so much a part of what made that franchise successful
Oh
because
yeah.
it does speak to a nightmare. We can create nightmares in our head about these terrible terrible things, and they actually showed you those nightmares that you have in graphically and visually, and they created these situations where, when you're a teenager and you're talking to your friends and you're like, hey, if you had 20 seconds to dig your eyeball out, would you do it or would you not do it? Like, these are the kind of conversations you had as teenagers sometimes, and you're like,
Right.
kind of make a whole franchise out of that kind of notion. And so you're sitting there watching in the audience, and you just know that this is going to go terribly wrong either way, right? Like
Yeah.
it's so edge of your seat. To mention, I think that what also made that movie, because you can't just do that, and I think what makes that franchise work so well is the whole A plot line of Costas's character and Toby's character and Amanda and like and the FBI guy Scott's character all trying to figure it out, and just the way Costas always just narrowly manages to get away with it, and every movie you're just like, they're going to catch Costas this time, they're going to get him this time, and he always just manages to get away. And I thought that was really well written and well executed. Like,
Yeah.
you can always go back to the set pieces of the traps and the tortures and all of that stuff, but really the movie is about this cat and mouse game between the FBI and the Jigsaw and his apprentices and stuff like that.
Yeah,
um
no, I mean, I'm actually not kidding. I'm a huge Saw fan, and I mean, I don't know if like the torture porn thing, like I'm not saying I'm a huge torture porn fan, but the
no,
Saw
I'm not.
films, I do like because it's kind of like I like Seven, you know what I mean? I like
Yeah.
really, and like because I also write scripts, so like I write either horror or romantic comedies. Like those are my jams, you know what I mean? And it's totally different
What?
vibes. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Totally different jam.
I either write graphic horror or romantic comedies,
Yeah.
because I see a similarity. There's a bridge between those two genres, and they really speak to me.
There kind of
Okay,
is.
you should try to mix the genres, maybe.
Yeah. So I had one last question about Saw and then we'll move
Yeah.
on. But so when the acid is in you and the
Hmm.
boy like hit the thing and like you're dying, how come you didn't say, "Can you please switch it?"
Scream out to the kid like, "Turn it off! Turn, hit the other button. I think you hit the wrong button." It just wasn't in the script.
Yeah.
I wasn't granted that much leeway to change the script. But
Yeah.
you're right. There was something we did at one point, which was, um, and I don't see because I rarely watch my own films, and so I don't know if it ended up in the final film or not. I think it's in one
I
of
could
the.
tell you. I could tell you.
Okay, so I think it's in one of the like DVD discs, extra features type of thing. But there was a big discussion in on set because the one thing that the Jigsaw was always honest.
Yeah.
And so if you did what you had to do, if you defeated the game, you won. And it was very evident to everybody, the crew, the writers, well, maybe not the writers, the director, me, even Toby was like, but William beats the game. Like he beats the game, so why does he have to die? And so I said to Kevin, well, maybe it's not his game. Maybe that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Maybe the point that Jigsaw is trying to make is a dying man can do everything he possibly can, but at the end of the day, it's not his game. It's the insurance company's game or whatever. And so there was a point where we did a take where I'm there, and just before I start begging for my life, I had that realization where I suddenly realized, because I remember that William keeps wandering through the warehouse going, I won the game. I beat the clock. Fuck you. And then we had a moment where I looked, sort of had a realization that it wasn't my game. And I actually said, it's not my game.
Yeah,
And that's
that's
when
in
I
the
started.
film. Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that was a bit of a moment between Kevin and I where it was like, that could be the fix. Maybe it's the parents' game. Maybe it's the kids' game. And they have to go through and watch all of this terrible stuff and see if they can, after they see this poor guy get tortured and beaten up and having to make all these terrible decisions, can they forgive him or not?
Yeah.
And if they can't forgive him,
Yeah.
that's the game, right? So
Well,
the wife does, the wife forgives him, but obviously the son can't
yeah.
forgive him. I ran into that kid. I ran into that actor a few years later at a, I can't, we were at a festival event or something, and he came up and he's like, "Hey, remember me?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, I remember you."
Yeah.
Anyway,
But Peter, I just want you to know, if I was that kid, I don't think I'd kill you. I'd be like,
thanks,
I'd be
Keith.
like, I'd be like,
I
let's get
appreciate
out of
that.
here and get a chicken or something. But speaking of horror
Go see a
film,
romantic comedy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of horror films, you worked with George A. Romero, and like that guy is like
All right.
classic. Oh, was that not a good?
Here's the story there.
Oh,
That's a good
okay.
story.
Oh, okay.
So I auditioned for one of George's zombie films a long time ago.
Yeah.
And he took a shine to me. I was very young, and he took a shine to me in the audition. He was like, "Oh, you're good." He was talking to me, and he took a real shine. And he called my agent, and he said, he's not old enough for this part, but I really like that kid, so I'm going to keep him in mind. I'm definitely going to put him in my next film." So then the next film came along, and my agent got a call, and George wants to use you in the next zombie film. It's with Dennis Hopper, and it's big cast, and blah blah blah. And they send me the script, and they send me the sides, and it's a pretty good part.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be this guy who's like talks to Dennis Hopper, and then going to be escaping with my wife, and I'm going to run down this alleyway, and I'm going to get trapped in this cage, and blah blah blah. Anyway, about 2 nights before we shoot, I get a phone call from the casting director, and she's like, "Peter, I know you're coming to set in 2 nights. One of these actors just dropped out. Do you know anybody who might be able um, to do the part?" And I said, "Well, as a matter of fact, my friend is right here in my house right now, and he's an actor, and he's good. He's a great actor, and he could do it." And she was like, "Great, just tell him to show up on set, and he'll do it." So my friend's like, "Thanks a lot, man. That's great." I was like, "Well, hey, that never happens." So I thought, "Well, throw your hat in." So we show up on set, and we get there, and then George starts directing the scene, and he goes, "Okay, everybody comes running out of the building, and then Peter, you're going to go that way, and John, you're going to go that way, and John, you're going to go down this alleyway, and you're going to get trapped, and you're going to get trapped in front of this fence, and you're going to have to fight off all these zombies and blah blah blah." And I'm thinking, no, I think that was no, I think George, I think you got that. No offense, it's your movie, but I think you got.
Oh.
I'm the guy who runs down the alley and gets trapped. And George goes, "No, no, no, I got a better idea for you. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go into this place and you're gonna pry open this manhole cover, and you're gonna take your family down the manhole cover, and you're gonna go through these tunnels, and you're gonna come up inside the baseball stadium." And you're gonna think you're safe, and you're gonna look around, and the whole baseball stadium is full of zombies. And then they're gonna come, and you're gonna get out a baseball bat. And at this point, I'm looking over George's shoulder at the AD, and he's like this. I'm just like, "Okay, George. I guess
Yeah.
I guess I'll come up in the baseball stadium and fight my way up." Anyway,
Well,
needless to say, it never happened. So I think if you actually watch that movie, there's a scene there's a scene in Dennis Hopper's office where he's yelling at a bunch of people, and the camera just sort of quickly flashes around, and it just flashes on my face for like a second and a half, where I'm just like going, and then it goes on, And I remember the next day, a friend of mine called me at one point. He goes, "I went and saw that new George A. Romero movie, and like, what were you doing?" It's like, I know it's a long story, but I guess
Oh,
Romero had to at least put my face in there somewhere. So yes, I
but
am in a George Romero movie, and yes, I did work with George Romero, but it was
you
a
got
better story than actually the job was.
but that's still like an accomplishment because he's so great, and then like it'd be funny like when you got your friend apart, and everyone
Yeah.
called you, and then they'd be like, "Oh, John was great in it."
Was too. I still give him a hard time about it. I was like, "You took my job and you were great." Oh my God. He was better at it than I was, that's for sure.
So then let's go a little to ReGenesis, and I know that was a Canadian show, so I don't really know how like the rating systems work out there, but you're the star of the show on that. Like, did you have anxiety when you were doing that, like thinking, "Oh my God, this whole production is on me," or like how did your mind figure that?
Yeah. I mean, that was the first time I'd ever carried a show, and it's a lot of work. I don't think I'd ever want to do something like that to that extent again. It was very stressful. It
Yeah,
took a lot out of me and my family, and I think in the end, I think that the show itself was very good. Um, again, there's a story there. We almost got picked up for a fifth season. It was during the writer's strike, and the American market were looking for new product, and they weren't creating it, and they'd come north to see what they could find up here because they'd found Flashpoint before, and that had gone on to be quite successful. And I think we were 99% there. They'd made a deal, I think, with ABC, I believe,
yeah,
and they were going to sell them all 4 seasons, and then ABC would then front because it all came down to distribution money. And ABC was going to put up the distribution money, and then, but in exchange, they were going to get the first 4 seasons that they could air, and then they would then co-produce with Shaftesbury, something like that. And I think in the 11th hour, the writers came off strike, and the whole deal fell apart. And we tried to get the movie network to pick it up again, but in classic Canadian fashion, they were like, "But you said you were only going to go for 4 seasons."
yeah,
Well, yeah, but the show is successful, so the ratings are good. We'll just pick it up. Oh, no, 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 we don't have any more money for you. You said 4 seasons. That was 4 seasons. But don't you have a contingency fund? Like, if a show's doing well, you have some money standing by to pay for distribution rights. No, no, no. We just, your 4 seasons are up. You've had your shot. No, bye.
yeah.
So that was it for the show. And it was a shame because I think it was a pretty good show. I think I've met a lot of people over the years who were actually, worked in that field, and they were pretty impressed with it. I think they especially liked the time scale because it wasn't sort of a procedural where, I've run the DNA on this, and like 2 hours later, oh, we got the DNA results back. Like, we took our time. It was like, in one episode we'd say, okay, get me, a PCR, a DNA sample for this. And then 3 episodes later, somebody would come in, and I guess time frame wise, about a month later, and someone said the DNA results came back from that thing we were talking about 3 episodes ago. So it was kind of neat to keep sort of like folding stories in on top of each other,
Yeah,
and sort
yeah.
of show you that life in a lab sort of just always, like, the stories would just keep going. Sometimes they would end in 3 episodes, sometimes they would end in one episode. And it was a great cast. It's a great
Oh yeah.
cast. It's really, really a lot of fun people to work with.
But I mean, like that just kind of shows you where, like, if you're an actor, it doesn't really matter if you're the star or whatever. I don't think people realize the anxiety and the work and the stress that it is actually is. Like after the camera's shot and stuff, like behind the scenes, there's a lot totally different story. You know what I mean? I just find that those stories to be fascinating because it's kind of like stand up in a way where people think, oh, they're just funny guys, but there's a lot more to it. You know what I mean?
I I think in that particular case, that part, I mean, carrying a show is very, very tough. Um, and it takes a certain kind of person to. I think I was very lucky in that my that genre is kind of my
Field. Yeah.
speciality. I like
Yeah.
science fiction and I like hard science as well. So I could understand the science that they were talking about. Um, and my character, the 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 stuff when I had to explain stuff, all my stuff was written in metaphor. So, other characters would talk in scientific jargon, and then people would look at me and I'd go, what he's trying to say is it's kind of like if you got a watermelon, right? And you take the watermelon and you stick your finger in it. So that was sort of David's job, was to explain the science in and I had this great guy named Al Edwards who actually also talked kind of like that. So if you were trying to figure out something that was going on in this episode, Al would come in and he'd go, okay, so what it is like, let's say you're a mafioso and you want to take out the other gang. What you do is you go into their club when they're not looking, right? When their defenses are down, right? The immune system is down. You go in there and you just kill everybody. And so like, a lot of the stuff were just like directly metaphoric speeches that Al would give to the writers. The other cool
Yeah.
thing about that show actually too was at first Al would come up with the stories. He'd say, okay, well, in Korea right now, in South Korea right now, they're working on clones, human cloning. So you could do a human cloning episode that would have to do this, and this. And it would be difficult for the writers to try to create drama out of science that, although it's intellectually really interesting, it's sometimes not story wise or visually that dramatic.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, the writers started going to Al and saying, "Hey, we're going to come up with like a crazy science thing, and you tell us how you could do it." And at first, it was like I remember the first story we did was about spontaneous human combustion. And we went to Al and we said, we want to do like a 2 episode arc on spontaneous human combustion. And I was like, that's crazy. That could never happen. No, that's stupid. That's science fiction. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like really got mad at everybody. And like he thought we were really belittling the show and just, we were getting into X-Files territory. And so we were all like, oh, okay, sorry, Al. I guess that didn't work. And then like Al calls the writing room the next day and he's like, actually, I was thinking about it last night. Because that's the kind of guy he is. He was one of these big brain guys who, like, if you gave him this ridiculous idea, he would actually go and figure out, okay, this is how it could happen. Unlikely, but this is how it could happen. And
I
it's
like
funny.
guys like this.
Yeah, because it's funny because a lot of the stuff that the writers came up with, just as like, hey Al, how would you do this, has started coming true.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
the spontaneous human combustion episode was all about something called cyanobacteria, which is I'm not really a real scientist. I just play one on TV. But cyanobacteria there's a bacteria that does not need it's like an algae that doesn't need no cyanobacteria is one thing. There's a type of algae that doesn't need sunlight to photosynthesize. So
Right.
it can just start giving off oxygen or hydrogen or breaking down oxygen and hydrogen. And then there are these things called cyanobacteria that give off a little bit of electricity. And so, if you could somehow get the cyanobacteria into this kind of an algae where it's basically giving off hydrogen, and then the bacteria created a spark, like it was crazy. It was just like right. But we worked with Al. We wrote a story where there was a lab working on this algae and messing with the DNA and trying to create a new fuel source where you could get this bacteria to just grow hydrogen
Yeah.
and the algae gets into the scientists, and so now inside the scientists it's creating hydrogen buildup, and then there's a dust storm through the desert. It's all like all of these fluke instances where a dust storm picks up all the cyanobacteria dust off the desert and it lands in the water, and anyway scientists start exploding.
And then they started talking about watermelons, huh?
And then we always talked about watermelons. Watermelons are a great metaphor for anything.
That's true. So I wanted to ask you about this, and I have a funny story about this question. So you did this film called Double Frame with Daniel Baldwin, and the only reason why I saw it was because I, Peter, this is gonna be sound so funny, but so Daniel Baldwin went to my stand-up comedy show like 8, 9 years ago. And I didn't know who it was. I thought it was Alec Baldwin. I didn't know Alec Baldwin had like 1,000 brothers, right? So there's a story to that I'll tell you if you really want to know. But
Always.
okay, so I have autism and like I talk about in my comedy. And Daniel Baldwin's son has autism, and his son was like a huge Keith Reza fan because that's my fan base. So after the show, I sell merch, right? And Daniel Baldwin comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, you were really, really funny." And I was like, "Whoa, has anyone ever told you you look like Alec Baldwin?" And and he's like, "Oh, no, my name's Daniel Baldwin." I was like, "Whoa." Has anyone ever told you you have Alec Baldwin's last name and you look like Alec Baldwin? And then he's like, "No, Alec Baldwin's my brother." And I thought this guy's just lying to me, right?
Oh
And I was
my
like,
God, that's hysterical.
"Oh yeah, okay, you're Alec Baldwin's brother." Whatever. But he bought all my merch, right? Like no one else. So like, he gave me like $700. I was like, "Oh, thank you. You're Alec Baldwin's brother." You know what I mean? So then I went home and I did some research, and it is Alec Baldwin's brother. So then I was like, "Oh, this guy's really cool." So I watched all his stuff, and that's how I came to Double Frame.
Well, Double Frame, that was a long time ago too. I mean, it was a little detective, uh,
Yeah,
bad cop, good cop, bad cop, cops on the take type of movie.
but with
Um,
Daniel Baldwin.
with Daniel Baldwin, and he's a character. He's a personality. Like,
Oh,
and
for
he was,
sure.
and when I was doing it, he was. How do I say this politically? He was very in control.
Really? Okay.
Um, and he was very chatty, very nice guy. But I've heard some crazy stories about Daniel, about Alex Baldwin's brother, about Daniel, and he was none of that on the set. So
Yeah.
he was either going through. Although I had heard that on the way up, he'd flipped his car on the highway, and did all the whole movie with the broken rib, and I was
Oh my gosh.
that was pretty impressive. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a fun movie. That was Edmonton. I can't remember one. Long time ago. Leslie Hope was in that. Who I've worked with before a few times. She's great. And, uh, yeah,
Yeah.
Double Frame.
Peter, I want to respect your time, but I have 5 more questions. Can I ask these or?
Sure. Let me get another beer.
All right, cool. All right, cool. We're taking a break. Peter's getting another beer. I think he's really gonna like these questions. Oh, and we're back with Peter.
And
Hey,
we're
Pete.
back.
So, this question is kind of a funny question, but it's a serious question. I haven't seen this one, but you were in 100 Days in the Jungle, and I wanted to ask you, how many days were you actually in the jungle?
Well, Keith, I'm glad you asked me that question.
Okay,
So I actually, it's a true story based on these Canadian oil workers who were down in, I believe it was Ecuador, and they were kidnapped by some drug guys, a cartel, and they were held for 100 days in the jungle. And I played the RCMP guy who went down there and negotiated their release. So when I went down there, they'd already been shooting for like a month and a half in the
okay,
jungle in Costa Rica. And
yeah.
that, I mean, I have no stories from that other than the stories that they told me. And it was just miserable. Like cameras sinking in mud, howler monkeys throwing feces at the crew, bullet ants like this big biting
Oh,
everybody. And they're
yeah,
called bullet ants for a reason, you know. So when I got down there, these guys looked like an oil crew had spent 100 days in the jungle. Like
Yeah.
they had this look in their eyes, and I kind of showed up all like, guys, where's the beer? And they didn't want to have anything to do with me. And most of these guys are my friends. Like I hang out with these guys. They're
Yeah.
Hugh was one of them, the guy who played Lenny.
Uh,
And they were all like, it was a tough shoot for those guys. Like really, really, really tough shoot for those guys. Um, I remember the plane ride home. They, as soon as the plane just left the runway, everybody, we were all at the back of the plane. They just went crazy. They were so happy to be done. It was
yeah.
just exhausting. And sure, great stories and a great experience, but like, wow. Just I can't even imagine what they went through. That one actor, excuse me, Adrian, who's passed away, unfortunately. But at the time, he came down with some kind of sickness, and they had to do this whole scene one day where they had to hide his arm behind a tree because he had an IV bag attached to his arm that went, he was taking medication for this sepsis or something that he had.
Yeah.
It was horrible, just terrible. But the show itself was great success. It was a great show. It worked really, really well, and it's an amazing story. Like you can Google it, you can read about it. It really was incredible that what these guys went through. And my stuff was piece of cake. All
Yeah.
my scenes were with Brian Markison and Nicholas Campbell, and three of us sitting in a hotel room by a radio.
Ah. So
Hard. It
you
was real
so
hard.
you weren't really in the jungle.
An air conditioned hotel room with room service. And we're all like, I need proof of life,
Yeah. But
big
no,
deal.
it's so fascinating because like when you're in school and you read about the rainforest and the jungle and stuff, like I was like, oh, I never want to visit any of those places, not because I don't care about the environment or anything, but I saw this movie called The Jungle Book and there's a talking snake. I don't ever want to see a talking snake. You know what I mean? Like, are these people crazy? Do they not watch classics? You know what I mean? Like you're walking into a dead
But
zone just by that.
the name itself is so misleading. It's like, it's a rainforest. It's a forest that rains. How
Not true.
peaceful is that? Like being in a spa, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
a spa of death. It's a spa of death. It is a spa created by Jigsaw, is what it
exactly.
is.
Ah, we go
Oh
back
my
to Saw
God.
6. So this is a serious question
Okay.
for you when with your acting. Like, has there ever been an actor, and if you don't want to say the name, you don't have to because I don't believe in clickbait. But has there ever been an actor that you've worked with that kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say bully, but kind of like belittled you as an actor and made the scenes uncomfortable? And then how did you
Oh,
transition?
I've been lucky that way. I've never had an actor who has bullied me or belittled me. I know of actors who have, and I've seen it happen on
Okay.
set. I've been lucky. Uh, I'm a likable guy.
Yeah, you're
Um,
Peter. You're the best.
I have worked with some actors who are pretty miserable. And I do. Here's a story. I remember working on a movie a long time ago, and I don't want to mention who the actor is, but this actor, like everything was, he was fighting with the director, he was fighting with the other actors, he was telling other people how to do their jobs. It was really, but off camera, great guy, like
Yeah.
fantastic guy. Like you just wanted to hang out with him. He was a great guy, but on set, his work ethic was just so, it was just so mean. Like he was just arguing all the time, and it always had to be his way. And I remember this other actor was there, and he was like a journeyman actor who'd done a ton of stuff. And I turned to him and I said, and because I was young, and I said, "Is that? Do I have to be that guy? Like, if I wanted a career and become successful or whatever, do I have to be that guy?" And he was like, "No, listen, there are lots of actors in Hollywood who are
Yeah.
total gentlemen and are total class acts. Here's the only thing you have to remember as an actor. There is no other business in the world, in the history of the world, no other job where everybody around you is being paid to be nice to you
Yeah.
because you're the actor. So you've got to be in a good mood. So everybody's going to be nice to you, whether they want to or not. Just remember that and just be nice back, whether you want to or not, because this is a job that when you get to do it, it's like no other job in the world. It's
Yeah.
really not. Now, I say that, having said that, there are some crew who I've worked with as well who are not particularly nice. But a good rule of thumb, kill them with kindness. Just be a nice person, try to be reasonable, try to be reasonable. Sometimes you can't be, but you just try to keep it together and try to be as reasonable as you can, right?
Yeah.
And I have worked with those actors too. I've worked with some actors who have been just absolutely the most gracious people I've ever met, and and who didn't have to be, like,
Yeah.
so
No, no,
you
I
know
mean, you're absolutely right. And the reason why I asked is because, like, Peter, I don't mean to brag, but I'm also a celebrity myself. I haven't done a lot of movies like you, but I've done a couple. And I was in this one movie where like my scenes are with this big actor. And here's a spoiler alert, I never met the actor. So like when I was doing the scene, like they'd
oh, they
have
put
they,
a
yeah,
tennis ball.
yeah, and it wasn't a tennis ball, it was some other dude, and then they like did his lines. So like everyone thinks I had a relationship with this actor, and I was like, I've never met him. So like I think that that's kind of and this actor has a reputation of being like kind of mean. I was like, I never met him, So yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't know about that because I've never. I mean, I've worked with actors like that who say just put a tennis ball in a light stand and do your scene. But I mean, I come from theater. I trained in theater, and that to me that strikes me as like that's not acting. That's your celebrity at that point. Acting is you're acting. You're doing a
Yeah.
scene with somebody. And whether you're doing it in front of a live audience. I mean, the hardest thing I think about film and television is that there's no live audience, so you don't know.
Oh
You don't
yeah,
know if
that's
what you're doing is good or bad or how people are going to react. You're trusting that if the director says moving on, I guess that was good, you know.
yeah.
But
When you
the
because
only thing you've got in film and television is to the other actor to do a scene and try to have fun.
So I have a theater question because you said you started in a theater. Like, have you ever done like a play or something where, because like the cool thing about theater is I kind of think it's like stand up where each performance is a unique experience, regardless if it's the same lines or not. Like it's a different energy, different, audiences could be different. Like, have you ever had a moment where you just improved a line and got like the biggest laugh, and then you're like, oh, I'll do it the next show, and it got nothing?
No, no. Well, I mean, I have.
Oh, okay.
I think theater is a different animal because
Yeah,
playwrights are different animals, right?
yeah.
So your play, like if you were to do a David Mamet play directed by David Mamet and you improved a line, you would be fired.
Oh,
Absolutely,
really?
without
Okay,
doubt,
that's
you'd be
good to
fired,
know.
right?
Okay.
Right. So now other playwrights aren't maybe as precious, or sorry, I won't say precious, aren't maybe as worried about that kind of thing. But generally speaking, you're doing a play, that's the script.
Yeah.
And the director is in charge. The director, it's their vision, right? So they're directing you, Keith, to do the play the way they see the play.
Right.
That's particularly hard if you disagree with the director's choices. And then the night or the day after opening night, all the reviews come out and the show sucks. And now you've got to do it for 5 weeks every
Yeah.
night the way the director wants you to do it. That's terrible. That's like one of the worst experiences for an actor ever.
Right.
And you will be tempted at that point to start trying to change the play on stage, to do it perhaps your way.
Yeah.
And you might get away with that unless you're dealing with a director who attends the theater every night to make sure that nobody's messing with their vision. Because I've been in that situation too. And that's because then you get into like directors saying, I know the reviews are bad. That's because the reviewers are stupid. So just do it the way I told you to do it. And you're like, dude, every review has been like 1 star and everything they've said is true. So why don't we try something new tonight and try to get this ship turned around, you know?
Yeah.
So no, but you don't in my experience when you're doing live theater, you're either in a hit, and in terms of getting laughs, that's the other weird thing about live theater. So it has everything to do with the audience. Sometimes, one night you say the line, you know, and then James and then Keith came through the door, and the audience just breaks out and like they're laughing, right? And you go,
Right.
"Oh, great, that's a no brainer." And the next night you go, and then Keith came through the door, and it's just like
Boo.
crickets. It's just crickets, and you're like, "Okay, okay, I guess we'll just keep going on with the play then." It's like you never know. You never
So
know. And it's got to be that way with stand up too, right? Like you must go out one night and kill with jokes, and then you get the next audience and you're like, "Oh,
uh,
okay. I don't know what the hell just happened," right? Like I just told the same joke, I told it the same way,
yeah.
and
Yeah, but like I love the feeling of the energy. Like I kind of like bombing, maybe because like Norm bombed a lot. So like when you talk about critics and stuff, they'd have people check out stand up, and like whenever they write, Norm would be like, just remember people who are writing articles, they just have a cocaine problem, something like that. So like uh you know it's really, I go off energy, but like it's kind of like the play thing because I've only done one play my whole life, and it was The Crucible.
oh
And
my God.
yeah, but I wasn't a big part. I was just like one of the officers who's going to arrest the witch. Like I had no lines. I was like a stand-in. And so this was like, I don't know, 20 years ago. So there's an earthquake during our play, like an actual earthquake, and it shook up the theater, you know what I mean? And everyone's like, "Oh, what do we do now?" And this is right when we're about to arrest, the witch. So I just, with my stand-up degree, I was just like, "Witchcraft!" And it got like a big laugh, right? And big laugh, and I was like, I felt proud because I just ruined Arthur Miller. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's one way to look at it. But the other way to look at it
The
is you
second,
just saved the evening. You saved the evening. And you made everybody in the theater feel like they weren't going to die suddenly.
yeah,
Which is
but
you were of way more service to your audience that evening than you'll ever know. Oh my God, that's
but
brilliant.
but the director was pissed at me, and I was like,
Well, I bet he was. Yeah. See, a good director would have gone, okay, how do we get a gimbal set up underneath the stage tomorrow night so that when Keith comes through the door, the whole theater we can get it to shake like that. That was fucking amazing.
All right.
Anyway,
So, Peter, these are my last two questions. These are fast questions, though.
all
So,
right.
I was very curious because this happened to me, and I don't know, I'm sure this happens to everybody. Have you ever gone to a fast food place and placed your order and gotten the wrong food? What do you do? Do you eat the wrong food or do you return it?
That's a very, very difficult question
Okay.
because there's a lot of things in play there.
Okay.
If I'm ordering fast food, I'm usually in a hurry.
Okay.
So generally, if it's the wrong food, I will probably return it.
Okay.
If it's missed food, like, oh, they forgot a burger. Because generally, when I go through fast food, I'm going through with everybody, and it's a big order, and you're trying to. So if they've forgotten something, just keep going. The only time that I do take issue is when I go through fast food places in a particular franchise that will remain nameless, McDonald's. If you go through the fast food window and they point blank, they ask you, would you like, what kind of sauce would you like with whatever, your McNuggets, your whatever, fries? Well, they don't ask you sauce for fries, but McNuggets, okay.
Yeah.
And so you say, I'd like barbecue. I'd like two barbecues, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Inevitably, this happens almost all the time. You get it, you drive off, you go into the bag, and there's no barbecue sauce.
Honey mustard or something, right?
No, no sauce at all.
Oh, no sauce at all. Wow.
So at that point, now if I'm going through a drive-through and I don't leave now until you look in the bag, check the bag, see if the contents are there. But again, if I'm in a hurry, I may just have to eat my chicken McNuggets without barbecue sauce.
Yeah. Have you ever been in fast food timeout where, like, after you pay, they say, "Can you wait on window 4?" And you're like,
Mm,
ridiculous.
it kind of defeats the fucking purpose.
For sure. Okay, now Peter, my last question for you is if you could go into a time machine and talk to a younger version of yourself, knowing everything you know now, you just spilled your beer, knowing everything you know now, oh, what advice would you tell yourself?
Oh, God, there's so much. So much. Oh, I can only tell myself one thing.
Yeah,
Try not to worry so much.
yeah. That's a good advice because I think people worry a lot and there's no need to worry because the worst thing that happens is you die.
That is
I,
exactly correct.
I mean, you proved it in Saw 6.
Well, no, the worst thing that could happen is that you die by getting yourself fucking eviscerated and cut in half with fucking sulfuric acid syringes. That's really the worst that could happen.
Uh,
But yes, try not to worry too much.
yeah.
Worry a little.
Well,
It's not
Peter,
rocket science,
thank you
but
for
maybe
thank you for
little
being my
rockets.
best friend today, man. I really appreciate it. It was an honor, and
Thank you, Keith. I've never felt so special. This has been a really lovely interview. I had no idea that anybody wanted to talk to me about anything. So thank you very much.
yeah, I mean, like I said, because I did a lot of radio today, and I mentioned your name, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have Peter Outbridge on my podcast, Reza Rifts, and they're like, oh my god, and I'm like, yeah. So like they're like, ooh, I was like, yeah. So
Yeah. Ooh, wow. It's like
so
it's so
yeah.
your audience, they don't have a lot of language. They just make sounds. They just make
Well,
noises.
well, yeah, no,
Yes.
but
But that's good. That's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
But no, thank you so
Well,
much. I really appreciate you saying yes. So thank you.
no problem. And Keith, thanks again. And anytime, check
All
in
right.
with me in a couple of years and I'll maybe I will have died an even worse death by then.
Yeah,
God knows I die a lot in all the shit that I do. So
maybe Saw 19, you can make a glorious comeback and be like,
the
"Hey
upper half of
guys, I'm
the upper half of
alive."
my body comes back to life and crawls across the floor. Yeah.
Must have legs. All right, Peter. Well, have a great day, buddy.
You too, man. Take
All right.
care.
All right,
Bye-bye.
guys. That was the episode. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, and we'll see you guys next week on Razor Riffs.